Okay, you're welcome from the short break. Now, our break-even point here, we shall actually have our 20,000 fixed costs, 20,000, then times the units produced. Our units produced are 3,000, because the formula is very clear that you get you get the total fixed costs over the contribution. Okay, total fixed cost of over the contribution. Now here, this is what we have. Now, contribution. Our contribution now. We want to know the contribution because we said the contribution is equal to selling price minus variable costs. Okay, selling price minus variable costs. So here shall actually put a division sign here. So selling price is 100,000, then minus the variable costs, which are whereby variable costs are 60,000. We have 60,000. So now here we shall actually have our break-even point equivalent to here we shall actually have when you get 20,000 times the 3,000, then you get this much. You get your 60 million. Then over, because this is now from this point. So over when you get 100,000 minus 60,000, you get 40,000. So this is what we have. So now we want to see our break-even point. Break-even point here. So our break-even point, it will be equivalent to this one, 60 million over 40,000 over 40,000. So now our break-even point in units, these are tons now. These are tons. We have 1,500 tons. Tons. So this is our break-even what? Our break-even point in what? In units. It should be break-even point in what? In units. Units. Break-even point in units. That's what we have. So now we are done. So we have finished with that. Yes. Let me save this one. This is break-even point. Break-even point. We save it such that because you need it anytime. So from that point, we have to actually go and compute part B of the question. Part B of the question here the part B of the question. They are saying calculate the contribution to sales ratio. Calculate the contribution to sales ratio. Contribution to sales ratio. So that is part B of the question. So now here, when it comes to computation of contribution to sales ratio, we want this is B. This is B, part B of the question. Contribution to sales ratio. Okay. So this one will be equivalent to contribution per unit. It will be equivalent to contribution. Contribution per what? Per unit. Contribution per unit over selling price per unit. Over selling price per per unit. Selling price per unit. So this is the formula now. This is what we have. Okay, this is what we have. Contribution to sales ratio, contribution per unit over selling price per unit. So whereby, okay, whereby contribution is equal to unit selling price minus unit variable cost. I think we have seen that, we have already seen that. So therefore this one will be equivalent to our this one. We shall have, we know that selling price, because you know this is contribution, so sales ratio. Now what we call it contribution to sales ratio. So is equal to we said contribution is equal to selling price minus what? Minus unit variable cost. If you can actually refer to this, we said our contribution here is equal to selling price minus variable cost. So now for this case, we are not going to waste too much of our time. Shall say contribution per unit is equal to selling price, whereby selling price is 100,000 minus the 60,000, which is variable costs. Variable costs over, in other words, this was supposed to be, we are supposed to multiply this one by 100. So over, shall actually say over the selling price per unit, which is 100,000, which is 100,000, then times 100. So now here we expect to remain with 40,000 over 100,000, then times 100. So which is equivalent to 0.4, expressed in what? So we shall have our 40%. This is our contribution. This is our contribution ratio. This is our contribution ratio. So our contribution ratio is 40 what? Is 40%. This one. Okay? Yeah. So here, like that. Our contribution sales ratio is equal to 40 what? 40%. Yeah. Just like that. So we save. So let us actually have a short break, then we come back for another for part 4.